Imagine doing a love spell on somebody and then it all comes back to destroy you.
Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys had a great weekend. While you are here, go ahead and show your girl some love by liking the video and hitting subscribe if you are feeling the vibe. Those interested in remote work, I just posted 4 remote jobs that are hiring great companies, okay? I had 5, y'all, but the hyperlink messed up with one of them, so I think that they moved that position. But I have 4 of them. I will link that video in the comments below. Plus, I have story time on there, vlogs. If you need help setting up your work at home equipment, in alignment with like, I have no child care, so how am I going to do this? How am I going to work? Like, I got you. That is on my channel as well, okay? So I'm going to put that channel in the comments below, okay? So let's get started with today's video. Before we do, y'all know we are doing the witchcraft series. If you have not seen my last video, I'm doing a witchcraft series. Why? Because I'm taking into consideration what my audience likes the most, and it seems like more than anything you guys have liked the spells / witchcraft stories, so we're going to focus on that. I might add in on Fridays maybe like the horror dates, because y'all know those are so funny and entertaining, so I may add in on Fridays like the dates from hell. But we're mainly going to be focusing on the witchcraft / spells story times, okay? We're on a whole series, okay? I got y'all. Now, with that being said, in my last video, I do want to address some things, okay? First of all, your girl is human, okay? I do make errors, so I do apologize for any errors that I make. I did have a comment on my last video saying that if I include the stories, they want to either have the full story or like not to include them. And I actually agree with that. Like if you watch the last video, I included, I think it was the second story to where it was short. I was supposed to include part 2, but I must have forgot to include it. So if you ever see any type of errors, again, just keep in mind I'm human. I'm not a robot. I'm still a very busy person. I still work 2 jobs. I still am a mommy of 3. Like, I have a lot going on, but I really enjoy YouTube. So it's like I try to make sure that everything's good and edited and set before I post it, but I definitely missed that, okay? So I do apologize for that. Also, the sound effects of the first video, I guess there was some like noise in the background. I get any videos that I get when in regards to these are off of TikTok, and they're based off of people's reactions to them. So if the TikTok crowd loves them, those are the ones that I include on my channel. However, I have noticed that my YouTube crowd is a little different from, it seems like, the TikTok crowd. The TikTok crowd, baby, they don't care. They just want a good story time. They don't care what's in the background. They don't care about none of that. But I see my YouTube crowd can be a little bit more particular on what they want. So I'm keeping that in mind as well. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to be listening to 3 different story times. After each story time, instead of doing a long commentary at the end, and because of YouTube's like kind of new rules and stuff like that, I'm going to just give a brief little reaction after each story time. So without further ado, go ahead and watch them. Remember, if there's any cursing, I had to edit that out, okay? But go ahead and watch, and I will be back.
Imagine doing a love spell on somebody and then it all comes back to destroy you. You see my face, so you know I'm back with another spooky story. Someone submitted this story and told me it was about their cousin. We're gonna call her cousin Linda. So Linda met this guy, we're gonna call him Dodo, at work. Linda went from literally barely caring about being at work until Dodo joined the team. Dodo would bring this sense of excitement to work, while Linda was just looking forward to going to work because at least Dodo was gonna be there. So Linda and Dodo would go on to build this friendship, and they were inseparable. They spent a lot of times together at work and outside of work. So Linda really got to know the ins and outs of Dodo. And when they would spend all these times together, it would get late. And sometimes Linda just wouldn't feel safe to like go home, so she would just stay the night. So while getting to know him, Linda admitted to having feelings for Dodo. But no one knew if Dodo felt the same because Linda decided to not disclose that information. And of course, you know, knowing the ins and outs, she knew that Dodo already had a couple of options anyway. But according to Dodo, those women were just sexual relationships. Fast forward one day, Dodo's grandfather unfortunately abruptly passes away. And to help Dodo get his mind off of things, Linda being the best friend that she was, so to take his mind off things, they decided to go out to a bar. They got drunk and came back home. While they were home and Linda was consoling him. One thing led to another, and they did the boom, boom, boom. Now, Linda. Anyway, so the next day they woke up, they didn't really talk about it. Linda proceeded on being there for Dodo throughout his entire grief period. And throughout the period of him grieving, they did not hook up again. However, Linda's feelings grew. One day, Linda finally said, you know what, I'm done hiding these feelings. So she confesses her feelings to Dodo. And Dodo actually felt the same. Dodo actually admitted to being in love with her, and he was just scared of ruining their friendship. So they would go on and have like this flirty-esque friendship. They were basically best friends by day and doing the boom boom boom, making the bed rock by night. Everything was great until Linda was like, when are we gonna be together? We've been doing this cute bestie cat and mouse type of game for a while now, like with T. And every single time that conversation would come up, it seems like there was always a blockage on his end. Linda was ready to be a girlfriend. Shit, Linda was ready to be a wife today. But there was a blockage for him. So Linda thought, since her family is already privy with voodoo, she might as well exercise what she actually knows and just basically give him a little kick to make him see her as, you know, a potential mate. So she did what any reasonable person would do and fed him a voodoo pasta. And that was just step one. Because she likes to go big or go home, she admitted to also giving him a potion. And the man was head over heels. He was so head over heels that he forgot about everybody in his life. That is until his family got involved. His family, knowing that something wasn't right, got involved and decided that they were going to bust him out of this relationship. So one day they got him. All that Linda knew was that she came home one day and that this man disappeared for months, and she had no idea what happened to him or even where to find him. Until one day, being the desperate girl that she is, when suddenly in storms an angry Dodo. To backtrack, when Dodo's family got him, they uncovered the truth about what his girlfriend was doing to him. They took him out of whatever she put him under. When he came back to realize, as much as he tried to ignore the urge, he just had to see her. So he would storm to her house, kick her door down, notices that she was sitting right there, Linda being excited that he came back, but also automatically noticing that his demeanor was different. He beat Linda so bad that Linda suffered such serious surgeries. She has lost all her teeth, dislocated her jaw, broke a few of her limbs, and he attempted to set her house on fire. So she escaped by literally just a hair. One of her neighbors heard the screaming, saw Dodo running out of that house, and ran inside to her rescue. Till this day, she has chronic pain and she is still suffering the consequences of that love spell. That was a submission from Jackmail IT. Maybe hold out before you do that love spell.
When are people gonna realize love spells never turn out right? Okay, like rarely ever have we heard any love spells stories turn out good. They always turn out in turmoil. Okay, if a person does not love you and want to be with you for you, they are not the person for you. Please stop forcing that, and please go do some inner healing, some self-work, okay, some self-love, because baby, you should not have to force anybody to do anything. Okay, that is ridiculous. Please stop manipulating spiritual energy like that and energy within other people's free will. Like, please stop. Okay, it never turns out good. Now this girl gotta be forever reminded by her like physical what is that, like bruises or whatever that she endured. Now she gotta be forever reminded of the stupid decision that she made.
Bestie, it's story time, so you might want to go get your snacks. I already told y'all this morning the story was coming, so you should be prepared. So, trigger warning about this story because it's kind of disturbing. This story is from a country where child marriages are legal, or it's a thing. So boom, there's this little girl, let's call her Susan. So Susan is about 11 years old, so it's safe to say that she's a child. Susan didn't really grow up with too much. Her family was pretty poor. They struggled to eat damn near every day. In the country that they live, a job is not really something that they find. Well, you can find a job, but it's just super duper hard. Like, it's really hard. Her mom is a stay-at-home mom, obviously. Her dad wants to work, but he can't really find a job. So her mom has this little snack business where they make like a snack in their country and they sell it. So like a street food seller. And her dad owns a motorcycle, so he kind of like charges for motorcycle rides, and that's how they get through. Although it's not enough, but that's the most that they could do. Which in terms, forces Susan to work at other people's houses in order to also bring some kind of income. So she's basically like a maid or something, right? So one of the houses that she works for, the family is pretty rich. And one day, while she was there working, the family had a visitor, and the visitor came. And she does her job as a maid. She cooks, she cleans, she serves the visitor. And this visitor is a 45-year-old man. And as she's working, this 45-year-old man took a very great liking to Susan. And he was staying over there for about a week or so. So Susan had to literally serve him every day. And every day that she served him, it seems like he's getting touchier and more lovey-dovey. And again, this is kind of normalized in their country, but again, Susan is a child, so of course she feels uncomfortable because it's not normal, you know? Boom, by the 4th day that he's there visiting, he makes it very clear to the family and to Susan that he wants to marry Susan because she does such a great job. She would be an amazing mother one day. I know, sick. And Susan tries her best to be respectful because in that country too, women don't really have many rights. So any little thing that she does that may come across as disrespectful, she can get in big trouble for it. Or her family is going to pay for it. And her family already don't have enough to go by. So she really doesn't want to, upset anybody. By the 4th day, he's pretty clear on he wants to marry her. Susan is trying to kind of tell him no without telling him no because in that country, you don't have the privilege of saying no as a woman. So at that point, she's just praying and hoping that the day that he leaves comes even faster because once he leaves, she don't gotta marry this man. So by the 5th day, he tells her that he wants to meet her parents because he's willing to pay, for the marriage in order to be able to marry her. And again, she wants to say no so bad, but she can't. And the family that she works for also knows her parents, so they set it up. So boom, this 45-year-old man goes to this little girl's house to speak to her parents, to tell her parents how, he wants to marry her. He wants her to be his wife. They spoke, they had dinner and stuff like that, and then he leaves, right? And after he left, they came to Susan to ask Susan, do you want to marry this man? So Susan made it very clear that she doesn't want to marry this man. She's 11 years old. She don't want to marry anybody. However, the amount of money that he's offering could save this family. So they're not really happy about the fact that she says she doesn't want to marry him. What do you mean? This man is offering this much money for you? You're going to marry him. And it's messed up, I know, but it's the reality of it. So this turns into this big argument to where they're screaming at Susan what do you mean? You can save this family. We don't have to work as hard anymore. Da, 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 da. Susan is if y'all make me marry this man, I'm going to run away. I don't care. I'm going to run away. But they don't care because guess what? The dad ends up calling the man behind Susan's back and saying, yes, Susan will marry him. So when she went to work the next day, the guy was there and the guy was oh my God, there's my bride. And Susan is what do you mean? And the guy told Susan that her dad called and basically gave the okay and they will be getting married. So Susan is devastated because she's seen some of her friends, what happens to them in these marriages. They get abused. It's just bad and she's terrified. So when she goes home, she was being serious about running away. She starts to pack her stuff to run away. And one of her siblings sees her doing that, goes to her dad and tells her that Susan is actually about to run away. So dad comes back. He comes back and he beats Susan because she was going to try to run away. And then after he did that, he looks at her and says, it's okay because I got something for you. The dad then proceeded to go to a voodoo priest to do a love spell on Susan so that she can willingly marry this man without all this fight. He goes there, the voodoo priest did what he had to do, told him what he had to do, and he did it, and it worked. It worked. The way that he did it was through food. The food that, they gave Susan made her all of a sudden be in love with this man. The thing about love spells is that it's against their will. although it seems like she was in love with this man, she wasn't, because it wasn't her. But she couldn't control it either. Like, she's willingly doing things for him, and she's willingly preparing for the wedding day and stuff like that. The whole family's happy. The whole family is happy because Susan all of a sudden loves this man. And they're about to be rich because they're about to have all this money. And long story short, Susan does end up marrying that man. And once the love spell thing wore off, she hated her life. She hated her marriage. Like, she hated everything about what she was going through. And about a year later, so a year later, she would be 12 years old. About a year later, she ended up being pregnant. And when she found out she was pregnant, unfortunately, she unalived herself. Unfortunately, this story does not have a happy ending. But it just goes to show how much some of us really are privileged, because this is real life. People really go through this kind of stuff. And it also makes my heart break because I don't know if y'all know Dora. She recently passed away, and she was this great woman that adopted over 500 kids, saved them from child marriages and abusive households. And a lot of people weren't happy about that. A lot of men weren't happy about that. Me personally, I feel like her death was definitely, I don't want to speak on things that I don't know, but I do feel like she didn't willingly go. And I feel as though it needs to be investigated. When I saw that she passed away, y'all, I was so heartbroken because she was literally saving people like Susan. Kids like Susan. She provided them with school, food, a living, health insurance, But hey, don't forget to tell me what you ate as a snack. I'm sorry that this wasn't a happy story. I am still doing a $100 giveaway. Scroll a couple videos down to find out how you can enter and how you can win $100. I'm announcing the winner January 16th. And I'm also helping out one business per month with free promo. So if you want if you have a business or you know somebody that has a small business and you want to help them, go to my bio. There's a link to, apply for it. And I hope that we can all come together and help each other out, because that's what we have to do nowadays. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is part of the entry to the giveaway. So, yeah.
See, and I always hear people from time to time complain about the country that they live in, like, which is the United States. Like, they complain like, oh, I hate it here and it's this and that. And I'm like, psh, you don't even realize, like, you are privileged and spoiled compared to a lot of other different places, okay? Like, we can even choose who we want to be with. Like, a lot of other people cannot do that in other places, okay? Now, I'm not completely against arranged marriages because statistically, they actually have a lot of better outcomes. However, I am against arranged marriages when it comes to the certain ages. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, 11-year-old, what? Like, I feel like if there is going to be arranged marriages in place, my personal opinion is they need to be an adult of legal age. Like, I say 18 and up, or at least 20 and up, something like that. But the way that they try to normalize these pedos is just crazy to me. But that is unfortunately something that they have to deal with. That does suck. Her family ain't SHIT for that. Like, y'all selfish. That was just completely wrong and selfish for them to do.
Love spells gone wrong. Story time. So Jose and Maria have been married for over 15 years. They own a business, a home, they have 2 children, and Maria is currently pregnant with their 3rd child. Now, because Maria is put on bed rest during this pregnancy, she can no longer go to work. So that means that her and Jose have to hire a new secretary to pull her weight. Now, Susie is 24, straight out of college, very beautiful and intelligent, so she applies for the job and she gets it. But Jose and Susie are talking, they're flirting, and within a couple of weeks, they're in a full-blown affair. But his mother warns him, you know you have a family at home, you can't be doing this. Jose tells his mom, you just take care of my wife and baby while I'm at work. I got this. I pay the bills. So 2 months later, Jose and Susie are still going strong in their affair when one day Susie rolls over and says, hey, guess what? You're going to be a daddy again. I'm pregnant. His eyes were big as quarters because he knew if anyone found out about this woman or baby, he would lose everything, including his family. So Jose tries to talk Susie into having an abortion, but she says absolutely not. We intentionally created this child and I'm going to have it. He knew he could not piss Susie off or she could destroy his life in many ways. this. So he gets the idea to tell his family that he is stressed out at work, bogged down and depressed, and the best thing they can do is pack up and leave the country and just start over fresh. So to keep Susie at bay, Jose lies to her and says, look, I love you, and as soon as you have this baby, I'm going to leave my wife and kids and we're going to be together. Susie's in shock. She can't believe that he's ready to make that kind of a commitment. The only problem was he was lying to her, and within a few weeks when his wife had her baby, he packs his family up and moves them to America, leaving a pregnant Susie behind. When they left, Susie is calling Jose's phone, leaving voicemails, texting, blowing him up like, where the hell are you? So Susie tells her mom that Jose has ghosted her, and her mom informs her that Jose has moved his family to America. They're gone. She loses it. She starts blowing his phone up, calling and texting, you abandoned us. I'm gonna tell everyone. He just keeps lying. He says, wait, I did this for us. As soon as I get established and get more money, I'm gonna leave her and then bring you and the baby here and we'll be a family. 6 more months goes by. She's had the baby and Jose has still not sent for her. He just keeps stringing her along. Well, she gets mad and says, look, Jose, if you don't get on a plane to come get us, I'm coming to you. Do you understand? I can't be without you. He said, no, but I hope you understand. I don't want nothing to do with you or your bastard. Don't contact me again. So at this point, Susie is stressing. She has no income, no transportation, no family support, no help from Jose. She doesn't know how she's going to take care of this child. So she went to a local village healer to try to get some help. Susie told the healer, I need a love spell, the strongest one you got. And the healer responded, are you sure you can afford this? Because this is going to cost a lot more than money. Susie got on her knees and said, I don't care. I will pay whatever price it costs. Just make this man come back to me. The healer said, okay, but you understand the price for this, and Susie cut him off. I don't care what the price is. Just do it. The healer said, take this herb, grind it up real fine, add some blood from your menstrual cycle, cut some hair from your head and his, grind it all up real fine, and then put it in his food. He must eat this before or after Schmegs. Doesn't matter which, but make sure he eats it all. Understand, once you do this, that man is not going to leave you alone. She said, well, good, that's what I want. Susie finds out through the grapevine that Jose is coming back to their country just for a couple days to get the rest of his family's belongings and to tie up some loose ends, and she knows that's when she's going to have to do it. On the day that he returns, Susie put on her sexiest outfit and goes to the airport, and as soon as Jose stepped off that plane, Susie bumped into him and said, hey, stranger. Jose is like, oh, hey. She said, it's okay, I'm not mad anymore. I've gotten over all that. And Jose was dumb enough to fall for it. He thought, wow, I can hook up with her tonight and nobody would ever know and just go get my family stuff tomorrow. And of course, just like we all predicted, he wound up in a hotel room making love to Susie all night. While he was asleep, Susie cut his hair, her hair, and she even took a patch of the baby's hair to make sure it was stronger. She put that herb and her blood in it, mixed it up, and served him breakfast. Jose was so drained from the night before that he ate up every single morsel of that meal. He didn't miss a crumb, and Susie just stood there smiling because she knew she was about to get what she wanted. Susie tries to cuddle with Jose, and that's when he jumps up. I have to go. I made a mistake. We can't do this again. She said, okay, have a nice day. She wasn't mad or worried at all because she knew he was coming back to her. So they leave the hotel, and then Susie sits by the phone waiting on his call, just praying that the spell worked. So 2 days later, Jose calls her and says, hey, I've left my wife and kids. You're all I think about. I want you. I need you. I'm coming back to you. She said, well, good. Hurry. Well, later that day, Jose called her 3 more times back to back, but she missed the first 2 calls, and when she answered the third time, he was screaming at her, where the hell are you? Who are you with? Are you cheating on me? You better not be with another man. Why didn't you answer the phone? Susie thought, that's really weird. He's never been jealous over me before, so it must be a side effect of the spell. That's good because it means the spell is working. But when he arrived 2 days later, Jose's behavior was out of control. He grabbed her by her arm and started screaming, where were you? Who are you with? Why didn't you answer the phone? Then his whole mood changes. He apologizes to her. He says, I'm so sorry. I love you and the baby. I would never hurt you. Please, I want y'all to come live with me. When they get in the hotel room, Susie gives the baby a bath, and then she lays on the bed and starts playing with the baby, and then Jose looks over and says, you love that baby more than me, don't you? You spend too much time with him. You love him too much. You're going to choose him over me. When he gets older, you're going to marry him and be with him, aren't you? Susie said, no, what are you talking about? He's our baby. We created him. We should both love him the same. This man is losing it because of that spell. All he can think about is Susie cheating on him or leaving him. Jose picked the baby up and said, you have to choose now, either me or the baby. Susie said, why? He's our baby. He said, choose. She said, I'll always choose you over everyone. He said, then you won't mind me doing this. And then he opened the balcony sliding door, took the baby out and held him over the balcony. She said, no, wait, what are you doing? That's our baby. He said, but you can't love him and me, so we have to get rid of him. And then he dropped him. Before she could even grasp what was going on, Jose lunged at her, put his hands around her neck, and began choking her until she passed out. When Susie finally came to, she felt the cold wind blowing through her hair. She felt Jose's arms wrapped tightly around her, and that's when she heard him say, Susie, I love you, only you, forever. And then she realized they were falling from the hotel balcony.
So with this story, it was a very good story. I was debating on whether I wanted to include it or not because I had questions at the end, but you know, I guess the same questions that I had was the questions that people had in the comments as well. And apparently the girl in the story told this story to her sister before all of this happened. But my big question is, like, is she alive now or is she not alive? You know, like, what happened? Like, I don't know. But apparently the girl in the story was keeping her sister updated, the one who was having the affair the whole time. But I just have a lot of questions when it comes to that story. But this was very, very, very popular on TikTok, so I know that a lot of people enjoyed it, so I just wanted to share that with y'all as well. But these are the 3 stories that I have. Again, y'all, please be careful and be mindful. Do not force anybody to do anything against their will. Make sure that you are keeping yourself, your children, your loved ones, your house spiritually protected. You just never know. Keep in mind, if you have a son or a brother or cousin, whatever, who like seems to be like possessive over somebody, and you're like, this don't make sense. Like, why are they acting like this? They might have witchcraft on them. They might have a spell that was placed on them, you know? So that's why I say it's really important to keep yourself and your loved ones spiritually protected. Because I also heard another story time of where I think it was this guy trying to put a love spell on this girl, but it would not work because she was spiritually protected. And like, witches will tell you that. The witch that talked to Tasha K, they will tell you that. They said that like they can't touch certain people because they're spiritually protected and they see it in the spiritual world and they can't touch them. So again, be spiritually protected, y'all. You know what I mean? Like, be spiritually protected. But that is all I have for y'all. How do you guys like the witchcraft series? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I will see y'all in the next one.